Is it really easy to be a Christian? I don't believe it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Read on. Standing for Christ or standing with Christ often opens you up to criticism and judgment. Sometimes it comes from people who believe you should act or live a certain way. Other times, it comes from those who try to silence your voice because they are viewing you through their own lenses. When you choose to stay away from certain environments, music, or lifestyles, some people struggle to accept your reality. They may not want to believe that a life of righteousness is possible, so they attempt to measure your conviction by their own standard of worldliness. Christianity requires a deep commitment to staying in His presence, ensuring that we do not lose sight of the cross, even as we navigate the hurdles of life. So how do we remain steadfast regardless of the challenges? By staying in Him. True confidence is birthed in the presence of the Lord. It comes from spending time with Him, soaking in Him until you are strengthened enough to stand for Him. People's judgments, their words, their hostile looks, and their attempts to silence you when you stand for Christ and for truth can slowly wear you down. At some point, you may begin to wonder, maybe I should just keep quiet. Before you realize it, shame tries to creep in, and Romans 1:16 may no longer feel like your present reality. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jews first, and also to the Greek. Yet, Scripture also reminds us, who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? Romans 8:35. Still, we must be honest with ourselves. These things can pull us away from our intimacy with Christ if we are not careful. Not because His love fails, but because we fail to remain in Him. That is why we must be intentional about abiding in Him. Careful not to become self-righteous. Careful not to stop seeking Him daily with a genuine hunger to know Him more. When we drift from His presence, fear of people's opinion begins to grow. We become more concerned about what others think or say, and shame finds a foothold. That is why we must choose again and again to walk in Him and remain in Him, staying in His presence until we are transformed, staying until the opinions of men no longer matter, staying until bitter words are spoken against us for the sake of Christ and our hearts remain unshaken, staying until we are furnished, deeply rooted, strengthened, and fully confident in Him,